TikTok has officially been allowed to keep operating in Canada, but with some new restrictions. The federal government has reversed its ban on the app, which was first announced in 2024. But in order to keep operating, Industry Minister Mélanie Joly says the Beijing-owned social media app will implement enhanced protection for personal information, implement enhanced protections for minors in Canada, and appoint an independent third-party monitor to audit and continuously verify data across controls. For more on this, I am joined by Claudiu Popa, cybersecurity and privacy expert and co-founder of Knowledge Flow, a cyber safety foundation. Welcome to the show. I wanted to start by asking you, what is the benefit to implementing these restrictions instead of the ban that the government first proposed back in 2024?
I think, and thank you for having me on the show, the clear advantage is that we're not going through a heavy-handed approach of actually banning a platform that is near and dear to the hearts of not just kids, but some businesses as well. There were, and there still are, 14 million users across Canada. These are people who enjoy the platform, but some of them actually depend on the platform as well. They're doing business, they're exchanging information, and they're staying in touch with one another. However, without proper controls in place, it's very difficult to assure the privacy and the security of Canadians. So I think the news of having a controlled, audited framework are a lot more realistic than an outright ban for a platform that is that popular in Canada. And we have seen that part of those news are to have independent monitoring, which is always better than blind trust. So verification is good, and it matters a lot more than the promises that we've heard in the past.
So you say these measures are more realistic than an outright ban, but do you think these measures will be enough to protect Canadians' data?
I think it's a difficult thing to say because one, it's early days, and two, we haven't yet been privy to the government's understanding of what privacy enhancing technologies are. There's a current shift or a trend towards an increase in surveillance, towards an increase in broader age checks and digital IDs. And so that kind of surveillance risks undermining what we're trying to do here, because if protecting children comes with a backdoor where over-collection is going to take place, and even more information than we were afraid was going out the door is going to now be collected by a whole ecosystem of new companies and new providers of digital IDs, then that will pose all kinds of new risks to people's privacy and to their online safety. So it does remain to be seen, and Canadians are right to be skeptical and to maintain a certain degree of critical thinking when reading some of these news. But generally speaking, it's better than an outright ban.
Now, when this first the ban started, all of that, it was very much based on national security concerns. And you wrote at the time that there's a definite lack of clarity behind this claim of national security risk. Do you still think that's the case now?
Oh, absolutely. More so now than before, because at the time, it really wasn't defined. At the moment, we've seen that there really wasn't a strong foundation behind the claim of national security. And certainly, these new controls will go some ways towards satisfying the curiosity of the government and satisfying the need of regulators to ensure that the platform is not just operating securely, but also ethically to protect children. I'm particularly interested in what precedent is set by having these safeguards in place, because whatever safeguards we put in place for TikTok will have to be in place for every other social media platform out there. And hopefully those will not result in additional surveillance and tracking for kids or really anyone else, but will serve to improve security and the assurance that privacy continues to be protected as per our many privacy laws in Canada.
Do you really think it sets a precedence, though, when we're talking about a company that part of the concern is that it's a Beijing-owned company as opposed to Meta, which has Instagram and Facebook, or other platforms? So I'm wondering whether they really do all need to be treated the same.
Absolutely. So Meta does have a very solid track record of various privacy violations. They've gone to court many times. They've been penalized a number of times, specifically for compromising privacy. So it's really important to make sure that we harmonize those safeguards right across the board and not simply say, well, we're afraid of the unknown theoretical risk of the Chinese government spying on kids and users in general, while introducing additional data collection, surveillance, tracking technologies, digital IDs, and all of these need to, keep in mind, uniquely identify users. Up until now, people could log in with almost anonymous IDs, which was allowing them to maintain a certain level of privacy. But going forward, that might be even more difficult a case to make. So fairness, I think, is the name of the game here, rather than treating different platforms differently, because fairness and compliance go hand in hand. And it's important to have the same level of rigor when applying these safety and privacy controls and safeguards right across Canada for all users who are enjoying this platform.
It's still unclear how these enhanced protections will roll out, including this third-party monitor. Who will implement it? Who will pay for it? Who will be who's selected for that? Does this lack of clarity concern you?
It is a concern, and what we need to do is to keep monitoring the situation, because in Canada, we have the ability to push back. We have the ability to question. People like myself, or just about anyone, can write articles and blogs and provide opinions. We have that privilege, and we have the privilege of actually saying, we'd like more transparency into seeing what qualifies an independent monitor and what it is that they are actually monitoring. I haven't seen a message from TikTok agreeing to all of these requirements, because quite frankly, there was not that much detail involved. But certainly, from a high level perspective, it's a lot better than an outright ban. It's certainly, it certainly would go a long way towards creating or promoting claims of censorship if they did outright ban the platform. At least this way, we can test out new safeguards that have the potential to enhance privacy and to enhance that compliance with our privacy laws, which are unique in North America. That should be said as well.
I have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure.